Would it surprise you to learn that Delfino Plaza has episodes, just like all the main levels we've covered so far? You can't select these episodes from a menu, but the plaza has about 8 unique maps, all with different NPC behaviors, available shines, and other goodies. Which one is active is based on your progress through the game at large. In one way, that makes breaking down Delfino Plaza easy, since I can segment it in the way we've been doing the whole time. But in another, well, over the course of this video, I'll basically be playing through the whole game again. So welcome back everyone and everything, let's head right on into episode 1. The Sunken Statue, that'll do. The hub world in 3D platformers is a design philosophy that has fallen further by the wayside the longer the genre's been around, and nothing illustrates this better than the Mario games themselves, with each game's interlevel space steadily getting closer and closer to a traditional level select screen, and I think that's a real shame. A hub world is a great way to visually represent your progress throughout the game. Beyond just treating it like a suitcase full of souvenirs, the sky's the limit on how. In a way, I've honestly done this game a disservice by leaving all of Delfino Plaza to one side until now, because making as much progress as you can around here every time you get a new ability is a really gratifying way to play Mario Sunshine. Here at the beginning of the game, everything is dark and slimy. All the characters are pissed, and even your allies are like, man, this vacation sucks. There's nowhere to go but up. Obviously, the Ring of Sunlight expands with every shine we collect, but what you may not have realized is that even in the bright area, there's still a slight tint on the screen. This darkness is also really interesting, since it's not actually a part of the map. This effect is attached to our camera, and the shape updates completely dynamically to affect this ring shape. I have no idea how that could possibly have been easier, but I guess that's why I don't make games. Let's actually dig our teeth into the area now. We're gonna get very familiar with a lot of these characters, so let's do a roll call here. We've got 2 cops, 4 fruit vendors, a ukulele guy, a sunglasses bro, 6 toads including Toadsworth, Peach of course, mushroom guy, exhaust port repairman, the crate guy, the dock guy, these 2 sailor boys, angry wanted poster guy, 5 assorted holiday makers in Polynesian shirts, 1 lady from Pianta village who may even be the cousin of this mushroom guy. Man, I've been at this way too long to only just now be noticing that female Piantas have flowers on their trees. And finally, this castaway on the island to the east, who apparently has been trapped on this tiny island for 3 years. And if you put out his meager attempt at a fire, you're rewarded with a 1-up for it. You can also see Delfino Airstrip from here, though it's kind of missing half of it. Other details of note, I alluded to it way back at the start of this project, but Peach's design here was the first time we ever saw her with her hair up. She changed it from how she was wearing it when the plane landed, and with her parasol, she also has a completely different reaction to being sprayed. This design with the high pony went on to be her go-to hairstyle for almost every Mario sports game. Statistically, the one the most people will know it from is Mario Kart 8. There's also this garnet ring on her finger that I don't believe she sports in any other game. Sometimes she doesn't even have it in this game. I wonder what the story is there. Only other characters whose dialogue I want to highlight right now are this tourist, who's asking where the cameras are, and this one, who mentions a guidebook, and that this area is called Bianco Square. Now, we don't seem to have the same guidebook, as this area isn't even labeled on our map. Kinda weird they put a Noki over here when they never turn up in the plaza itself, but this place has the coolest brochure page out of any of them. We get a couple landmarks that are never otherwise referred to in-game: Mouth Bay and Nose Beach, clearly referring to their location on the dolphin shape. The rest of this text is a bit of a lost cause, unless here on the island they measure things in chips. But none of that is what makes this map so cool. Rather, it's this little Mario head that only shows up when looking at the page from within the plaza itself. It's marking our location on the map. It'll keep up with us no matter where we go. And every time you unlock a new level, its entrance is also marked on the map with these white dots. This is a fascinating little addition. Dynamic mapping like this isn't something you can just flip a switch and turn on when developing a game. So it's interesting that, with all the work involved here, this is tucked away in such an obscure spot. By the way, I want to give an enormous heartfelt shout out to Skylarcat, Shay, Jack, Sylphic, C, Melty Metroid, Egrelith, Bunch of Words, Mr. Penguin B, and Carmel in my Discord server, who have all permanently damaged their eyes helping me parse these brochure pages over the episodes. That's all I want to show before we start getting shines though. Of course, that far from means we're heading towards the main objective yet. Instead, I'm going to show off every shine that's intended to be able to get right now. Widely considered some of the easiest shines in the entire game. This first one's kinda clever. While exploring the plaza's sewer systems looking for coins and 1-ups, you might notice this section of the sewer unconnected from the rest. Explore around this beach, and you can find its entrance concealed by sand. Spray around the rest of the beach looking to see if it's hiding any more secrets, and you can find this image of a shine sprite, which spawns a real one right over here. If you're curious, this is the exact same image used to spawn shines in a similar way on Gelato Beach in Pianta Village. Over on those pillars where the shine spawned, we've got a pipe, which leads us to something that's sort of like a not-so-secret level. It does look kinda imposing, this massive slide surrounded by a bottomless pit, and we all know Mario's slippery physics are more foe than friend. But then, you can literally just get to the bottom of it by holding forward. Better yet, if we were to come back here later with the turbo nozzle, we could get it without even touching the slide. It's a weird level. You gotta imagine it was one of the last ones made. Like, oh, the game ships this afternoon and we're one shine short. Throw something together. And they certainly did. There's even this mysterious platform down here under one of the holes. It feels like the sort of place they'd hide a blue coin or maybe even another shine, but it's just empty. I may as well mention that in the Japanese version of this game, this platform is incorrectly coded to be slippery. It's no mystery as to why this happened, though. It clearly has the same properties as these ramps over here, which had to be slippery so you could get some sweet air off of them. Getting out of here even when it's not slippery is no picnic either, since there's this weird invisible wall with some strange collision to it. On the subject of secret shines, there's no 100 coin shine set to spawn in here either, making this our third instance of hacking in a coin to be our 100th crashing the game, but that's really all there is to this one. Now, just because those two are the only ones we're intended to be able to get right now doesn't mean those are the only ones we can get. Our next gimme is this bell on the radio tower, intended for the rocket nozzle. It's really no issue to jump over here with a good spin jump, clean it off, and then the shine spawns within the tower itself. Why the heck does it make the blue coin noise? Sneak on in from the sewer system, and that shine's all ours. That doesn't mean we can get the other bell shine though, the one on the prison tower. By the way, is this the room Mario stayed in when he spent the night in jail? It doesn't really look like it, but it's also the only place in the city that even remotely fits the bill. Anyway, if we clean this bell, its shine goes way up high over the tower. The shine for cleaning the shine gate is a similar story. They were clearly designed to only be gotten once you've gotten the rocket nozzle. Of course, that's not to say we can't get them. There are 3 or 4 different, equally bananas tricks speedrunners have found to be able to reach these heights. And of course, with speedrunners on our side, there are 5 more shines that are clearly meant to be impossible to get right now, but which are suddenly in reach. Also, slightly related, the prison tower has a rocket nozzle box hidden inside, and no one knows why. While I was looking at that, I noticed this plane zipping along, leaving a vapor trail in the sky. I've been seeing these vapor trails for as long as I've been playing this game, but this is the first time I've noticed that it's a dynamic element to the game, and not just part of the skybox. Back in the realm of tricks I can actually pull off, there's a hole in this building we're meant to reach once the canal boats are out and about, but this jump isn't so bad. This secret level, on the other hand, is one of the most infamous. Generally just referred to as the Pachinko level, we're tasked with collecting 8 red coins in this thing, and the hole at the bottom leads straight to death. This level's reputation is very much deserved. Any new player is going to launch into the machine and immediately try to hover about to control their descent into these pockets with the red coins, at which point they'll quickly discover that Mario has some extremely bizarre directional forces pushing him towards the right, and trying to hover into the leftmost coins is nearly impossible. However, this mission is hilariously simple if you know about that directional force and work with it. 3 coins are in the plunger shaft, and the other 5 are out here. On launch 1, simply hold left to drop directly into this top green pocket. On launch 2, hold right to drop straight into this blue pocket. Next, hover once you're out of the shaft, and hold right to let it magnetize you over to this green pocket. For the purples on the bottom, press nothing when launching until you land. You'll either land up here, in which case jump into the blue and slide back down, or you'll land right here near the center. From here, jump forward and hover into the side of the green pocket before dropping straight down for that purple, and then once you're back on that peg, perform a backflip to drop straight down into the other one. Alternatively, if reaching those purple ones looks like it's going to be too much trouble, you can always cheat and head up the back of the machine. I'm not sure it's easier, but it's a lot less risky. Obviously, to nab the shine, just press nothing in the launch again and drop straight down. And that one is going thoroughly in the designed around the hover nozzle category. But I also decided to see if I could do it floodless, since the only problem coin seemed like it was going to be the top right one, and to a lesser extent the bottom right, but nothing a bit of belly sliding can't solve for. I thought it was going to take some mad momentum manipulating malarkey, but then on a whim, I tried this. Pachinko parlors hate him because of this one simple trick. You can literally just wall jump over to any coin you want. How am I just learning about this? Finally, this is yet another mission with no gold coins and no 100 coin shine. But while we're on the subject, let's get the Plaza's 100 coin shine, shall we? This one's really unique. There are so many things we can do to get coins around here. Spraying wanted posters, open windows, swinging signs, green birds, weather vanes, smash boxes, find them laying around, but the vast majority of coins we can get around here are in the sewers. There are over 100 coins around here easier if you're thorough, but the smartest thing to do is collect about 50, then grab any shine of your choice, so probably the slide one, and your coin count is only reset upon switching to a new area. Since we haven't left Delfino Plaza, our coin count remains the same, and we can collect all those easy coins again to spawn our shine. Now, it shows up on that far mooring platform over there, and with enough precision, you can pull off a wall jump out of the water and hover on up to it. But there's an easier way to collect this shine at this point of the game. Well, maybe not exactly easier. This jump to get up to this far palm is probably harder than the wall jump out of water, but to me at least, it was more obvious that this was possible. Follow these trees and we can reach another secret area down a pipe. This one is generally called the tall grass level. Yeah, we Sunshine fans really aren't all that creative at naming things. Now, interestingly, this level doesn't seem to contain any gold coins. Not even this hidden watermelon block has one. But there are some Pokeheads around, and though they uniquely drop a red coin when defeated, they can also be sprayed into a wall to drop an extra 2 gold coins, netting us our shine. This 100 coin shine did not exist in the game's original Japanese release. They must have overlooked the fact that you can get these Pokeheads to drop gold coins, or perhaps that mechanic was added after this level was finished, but either way, this is the one and only time it's possible to reach 100 coins legitimately in an area with no shine, crashing the game. If you're not going for 100 coins though, I recommend against killing the Pokies this way. As this is the only time enemies hold red coins, it's possible to make them completely unattainable and softlock yourself. And no, he does not respawn. As for the rest of the red coins, this level is filled with unique ones. There are little divots hidden throughout this area, but this one leads to a space with a red coin. Here's a Pianta on fire who rewards us with a red coin for saving him, and here's this red bird, completely unique to this area, which of course drops a red coin if you manage to spray him enough. Now there's no water in here, so be careful with this one. The only other anything that's in here is this Pianta, who says he's been looking for the red bird for 38 years, which of course raises all the usual questions. Has he been in this cloud realm all that time? If he's telling the truth, he definitely predates Bowser Jr.'s antics. It's hard to tell if the secret levels set in the sky are designed by Bowser Jr. the way the others seem to be. I wish I had an answer, but the only other hint is that these 2 Pianta designs are unique. We've never seen a yellow mushroom Pianta, and though this ornithologist has some similarities to the one on Gelato Beach, he is wearing a different coat with an undershirt. I can't say for sure if they're different colors or not though. It might just be the different shading in here. Here's a tiny bit of trivia. These 2 Piantas are also the only ones to speak with this vocal line. Maybe they're the same guy? One last thing before we focus on our objective, I have a small correction to make. In this series' inaugural video, I made a point of the fact that you can collect 10 shines at this point of the game before factoring in speedrunning shenanigans. The 10 I was referring to were the beach, the slide, the bell, Pachinko, tall grass, 100 coins, and Pianta Village 1, 2, 3, and 4. At the time, I didn't know about the plethora of hidden coins in the village, so I have to amend you can get 11 when you include this 100 coin shine. And as long as we're on the subject, this version of Delfino Plaza has a lot of tiny, almost inconsequential differences from most future versions. I already mentioned the warp out of Pianta dropping you centered on the shine gate last episode, but the warp pipe itself also isn't as polished with no camera zoom down into it. Getting up here is quite a bit easier before we open Bianco Village as well, because this section of wall is possible to wall jump off of, and there are no doubt countless other little bits like that. Here's my favorite. You can hover straight into the side of this building, but the loading zone to Serena Beach doesn't exist yet, so you fall straight down into the sewers, or out of bounds completely. So how about that big batch of goo? The cutscene introducing us to the plaza begins focused on this Pianta here, but if you skip the cutscene and book it after him, you can see that he immediately gets sunken into the goo seconds after that shot. Now the goop itself is in a pretty distinctive shape, but it wasn't until I looked at it with these trees unloaded that I could tell what it was. That's PD Piranha. You can even see the X of his belly button. I think this may be Bowser Jr.'s best work. When approaching Peach at this point of the game, she'll give you this cutscene of the square, and it's completely possible to proc that cutscene after defeating the polluted Piranha. The cutscene where Gooey Mario reveals himself has a few odd quirks. Both the bells are clean in the background, and this blue in the jail cell will be present regardless of whether or not you've already collected it. Obviously, because this is a pre-rendered cutscene, but there appears to be a graffiti triangle on the side of the prison building. That's especially odd, since there are no graffiti triangles in the plaza in the finished game. This is my favorite detail. The ring of sunlight is pretty far from where it starts. This is about where it would be if we had 6 shines, which is way more than any new player would reasonably have by this point, but that's pretty validating for me personally. Now we've made it to episode 2, Shadow Mario Revealed. So, brand new map, brand new dialogue. These two are looking up at the fancy Grand Pianta statue, which I quite like. He's not really shaped like any Pianta we've seen. He looks like his father was a bodybuilder and his mother was a triangle. But I like his cape and the Shine Sprite medallion. Now this guy's the most plant. I'm going to choose to believe this isn't some Cortez figure heroically stealing this land from the Noki natives. Yellow Tourist is still asking where the cameras are. He may be a bit too into this. Otherwise, nothing too interesting in the dialogue department. It's the pollution map that's most intriguing. Despite Gooey Mario having one very small route and painting his symbol in very specific places, with belly slides we can spread it across nearly half the plaza, including to some highly unlikely places, like this area soaked by the fountains. The Sailor Boys here are standing on a mat which is layered above the goop layer, so unfortunately they're safe. From being submerged anyway. We can get the crate guy though, as well as literally anyone on the market street. I also found out that while fruit despawns on slime, it can still respawn on it, but turns into smoke as soon as it's moved. Yeah, I'm really not beating those vandalism allegations, am I? Once you down Gooey Mario, this is the third unique model of Peach we've seen. Once again, she doesn't have her parasol, cause Shadow Mario atomized it when he picked her up, but now her hands are locked into fists, since obviously animating her fingers individually wasn't really in the cards. Before we chase Gooey Mario to Bianco Hills, the loading zone to Serena Beach now exists, so that's two areas it's possible to reach before Bianco Hills. Though again, if you choose to do Serena early, you're performing a glitch to get in there for every mission. Now, we have to chase our rival to the statue and get this cutscene of him escaping into the graffiti, but rather than pursue him, we can get any shine, or save and reload, or whatever, and that'll put us into Episode 3, a pair of polluted piranhas. This is essentially the end of the tutorial, and the start of what you might consider Mario Sunshine's first act. Our only real objective being get a bunch of shines and see what happens. A lot of dialogue is the same here, but there are a few outliers. This green toad is a member of that exclusive club of characters that calls Flood by name. This one makes sense, at least he was there when Flood introduced themselves. These Sailor Boys have broken out into quite an argument.
That's hogwash! Your ancestors were all hairdressers, you liar! I'm not lying! I even saw the plans for it!
No idea what they're talking about, but we should probably keep tabs on them just in case. There are 4 new Piantas in the plaza. These ladies in matching hats standing by baskets, who will ask you to deliver them different kinds of fruit. We'll keep them in mind for later. Though we've gained the Fruit Sisters, Ukulele Guy is now nowhere to be found. Everyone else is accounted for though, including our favorite Yellow Tourist.
When are we gonna have another scandalous incident? I'm so bored, nothing fun happens here.
There is one other character missing, though he's only relocated inside this building. Break all the crates within 30 seconds. Yep, no questions asked, I'm on it. There's not much to this. You can break multiple with a single ground pound for style points more than anything. This time limit is no issue. Break them all and you get a Shine Sprite. This shine is weird. It and one other shine we'll get to in a second are the only shines we can outright despawn just by walking out and in again. After getting that shine, come back and he's got a slightly tougher challenge for you. Same time limit, new configuration. You know, I have to wonder what this room is. It looks like it might see some more legitimate use as a restaurant, maybe only at nighttime? I suppose with the boats not running outside, you probably don't get a lot of customers on this side of the river. Ooh, so close. Yep, just barely didn't make it, my bad. Again, this is far from a strict time limit. In fact, this may even be an easier configuration of boxes than the first, and beating 30 seconds gives us another shine. Most of you already know, that's all the shines he's got for us, but if you do come back a third time, he does have an even slightly or tougher bunch of crates for you to try your hand at. There's no real reward for it, just there if you're a true crate crashing enthusiast. Don't get too clever. You can't just smash them all and then talk to him. He just materializes them all again. Wait, what happens if... Hello? Hello? I don't get a lot of opportunities to do this. Window continuity is on point in this building. I've brought it up before, but we aren't literally inside this door. Instead, we're floating like 200 feet above the plaza, which is why this room is slightly bigger on the inside. So I'm impressed that the windows on every wall match up perfectly. Another new character in the plaza is this guy on the roof, who offers to throw us in exchange for a coin. I'm sorry, we're how far through the game and this is the first instance of being able to spend a gold coin? Well, he's as good as his word and hurls us straight through this rickety window on the bridge building, which will net us the shine locked in here. But this room's a little odd, with a fixed camera similar to the King Boo arena. Along with that, this ceiling is actually clingable. Combine those two elements and we can get a really close look at Mario. Before we move on, the ability to spend coins comes with a couple unique quirks. Let's get up to 50 coins, which of course grants us a 1-up, and then have him toss us over. With a precise enough jump, it's possible to escape this room through the newly broken window, and now that we're out here again, we can collect another coin and get another 1-up. We can do this as many times as we like, and though it's far from the fastest way to farm lives, it's interesting in what it reveals about the coding. Back in Pinna Park, when I maxed out my coin counter and observed that I was still gaining 1-ups every 50 coins for 1,000 and beyond, I theorized that the game's internal coin counter maximum may be significantly higher than what's displayed. A few of you guys theorized right back that it may just be that the game's display coin counter and 1-up coin counter could operate on 2 separate internal values. I really like where your minds are at, and I especially enjoy having people who will theorize back at me. But I'm right and I can prove it. If I work my way up to that coin maximum, get that 1,000th coin with the 1-up, and then pay the man to throw me, we're still at 999. But if I turn around and immediately do it again, 998. Take that, max score hunters. Your real maximum is still out there somewhere. Another fun little interaction we can force is with the 100 coin shine. Since we can spend a coin after spawning it, we can see what happens if we get 100 coins again. Nothing too exciting, it just erases and replaces the one that was already there, but it is a little neat. Also, I swear I have a distinct memory of my first time playing this game. I paid this guy, and he somehow missed the window with his throw, causing me to bounce off this building and think this guy was useless. Since he's sitting instead of standing, there's no way to affect the trajectory of his throw, so I've tried holding every direction I know of on the analog stick, and I haven't been able to replicate that. Wait, coming at you from slightly less in the past, I got it to happen somehow. I wasn't even going for it, I was just trying to see if the 100 coin shine would spawn upon going from 101 to 100 coins, but there it is. No idea what caused it, but at least I know I'm not crazy. I really do like this little room though. Just makes me feel like I've got this little space of my own in the plaza, and there's only one other building like it where you can see into the windows. Let's try to get inside. Maybe we'll have a room of our own without the This banana wasn't here before we got access to Bianco Hills. It took a couple tricky jumps, but we made it. Unfortunately, though perhaps predictably, no collision in here, so not exactly hospitable. Alright, that's basically everything you can possibly do by this point without hunting down the shines in the levels themselves, so let's get over to the entrance of Bianco Hills. I never mentioned before, but these M graffiti warps have got some nice imagery of the level they lead to displayed when you get close enough, and these got a major glow up in the Switch remaster, look at that. Nothing too interesting about this pan around the windmill, though it does still look like this after you've cleared out these vines and gotten that graffiti M. But what's especially interesting is that some of these previews are different in the original Japanese version. This one has got these massive red blocks, which I assume are placeholder objects that would later be replaced by the vines, but I can't say for sure. I also noticed that if you save your game directly in front of one of these warps, it causes the video to zoom way in before restarting when you resume. Now this episode gives me a nice opportunity to do a bit of revisionism and share some things about these levels that fell through the cracks in my earlier videos. These will all be things I've either learned after the fact, just straight up forgot to mention, or things you guys taught me. Starting right away with a super cool one. This GUI Mario parked in the opening shot of the road to the big windmill is actually a Boo model that we'd otherwise only see in Serena Beach. You can tell, the color's a bit off and the pattern only animates as the camera shifts. No idea why they would have done that, but it's a juicy little tidbit for sure. In the opening cutscene of the game, when we're watching the Isle Delfino promo, the shot of Bianco Hills features Mario. Charitably, I might posit that this is one of Bowser Jr.'s tricks, and not a comical oversight on behalf of whoever's job it was to put this video together. Normally, if there's something incongruous about a reflection, it's something not being rendered in that reflection, like the thorny vines on the windmill. But thanks to Christmas 95 for pointing out that this lake has a floating piranha in it that isn't there on our side of reality. It'd probably be spooky if it weren't a piranha. I wasn't sure how I missed this one at first, but Rosachu pointed out that in the scene where Petey and Mario stand off, the cracks in the roof spread from both of their feet, which is another great visual gag to add to this cutscene's multitude, but the reason I didn't catch it is because the scene I'm showing you is the GameCube versions, and in the re-release, the top and bottom got cut off as they zoomed in the cutscene to reach the edges of the widescreen. That's basically all for Bianco Hills stuff, though I do feel the need to clarify that yes, I do know you can rotate these platforms by spraying the windmills. It's just really slow, so I usually avoid it, but I probably should have at least shown it because it is a fairly neat mechanic that combines spraying and platforming, which I praised in Noki Bay. With Shadow Mario's shine obtained, we've gotten enough to unlock both Ricco Harbor and Gelato Beach, which means more goo shapes to take a better look at. Lloyd2226 was kind enough to point out that this shape is representative of Gooper Blooper's tentacle hanging out of the crate in episode 1. And then of course, if we follow the pattern of each goo shape being the boss of its level, level, the one covering the lighthouse could be Wiggler's little head flower. With the boathouse rescued, we can add the 2 Tanuki inside to our head count, and then head on into Ricco Harbor. Now you guys had a lot of cool things to share about this level. In episode 1, after releasing Gooper Blooper, an invisible object can be found near the entrance of the level. Well, I don't know if "can be found" is the right turn of phrase, but it's definitely here. It's a water barrel that has no visible model, and only has collision on the top, not the sides. We can destroy it, and even hear the water inside when we do, but that's about the only thing we can do with it. A fascinating little loose thread. Thank you Mario Muncher 44 for letting me know about it. Here's a fun one. You can enter Ricco Harbor from under the dock. In episode 3, this Pianta makes an oblique reference to a movie where a manhole cover was blocked and trapping someone beneath. Trackr 3501 told me that that movie could be He Walked by Night, and yeah, that certainly fits the bill. Melty Metroid in my Discord told me about this one. In episode 7, there's a Pianta with a Noki's voice line. Surprised I didn't catch that one, to be honest. For some reason, this was the only level where I straight up just forgot to cover the brochure, and I almost forgot to do it again for this episode. Sorry, Ricco Harbor, I don't know why this keeps happening. It's probably got the most text we can actually make out of any of the pages. Oidamase nandemo, Ricco Harbor. This place is known to the people of Dalpik for delicious fish. You can eat the fish with your lovely partner, so she will be glad. No, we were so close! What's this last line? With a partial smiling face? This blooper down here also wishes it to be known that they are delicious. That's everything for Ricco Harbor. Some of the plaza dialogue will change after you've cleared away the boathouse, but not yet the lighthouse. Toadsworth draws your attention to Debs, and I interpret this line from Peach as sort of a sixth sense for knowing when she's about to be kidnapped. I think Yellow Tourist might have the same intuition. We can also get the next chapter in the Sailor Boys argument.
So the model for the Grand Pianta was your ancestor? That's ridiculous. Seriously, come on, you're such a liar. It's because of liars like you that the Shine Sprites left us. I'm not lying. I saw the plans for the statue. Why don't you use your ears and start listening to me? It's because of squid brains like you that it got dark.
Oh, this is getting juicy now. Over at the Gelato entrance, the Beach Shine spawns just close enough to the polluted piranha that it's possible to beat him and then grab the shine before his death animation, interrupting the shine collection. And when we're back in control, the shine becomes intangible. The footage you're seeing for this is from the GameCube version on Dolphin, because I realized I would need save states to accomplish this within my lifetime. Gelato's preview is a little off. The mirrors are all tilted out of whack, and the top of the tower has a slightly different design, too. I don't know how I overlooked this. The Dunebud secret level has the sun present in it, despite its skybox otherwise not being unique. During episode 2, I noticed that if you look through this mirror at just the right angle, you can see an extra plungelo just chilling on the hill. It's probably some kind of enemy spawner or object handler, but maybe it's a vengeful ghost, who can say? Here's one I'd heard about, but it didn't sound all that interesting to me, so I didn't end up trying it. But then I got about a dozen comments about it after the video went up, so here we go. If you open your map immediately after laying the final blow to Wiggler, the boss music, which normally will slow down and then transition back to the Gelato Beach theme, will instead keep slowing down, and you'll get to hear this extremely rareware sounding version of the song. Close the map and open it again, and you'll get to hear an even faster version than what plays during his final phase. Alright, that one was fun. Thanks to everyone for getting me to try it. Credit to Frozone for telling me that this cash register contains another secret besides this one. If you jump into it from beneath, a ring of 7 coins will pop out. That's not just a cool obscure detail, that's pretty damn useful considering Gelato's probably the toughest 100 coin shine. A bunch of you suggested that the bird the ornithologist mentions in episode 7 could be referring to the blue cataquack in the tree. I like that as a headcanon, but I'm also not too sure about it. Since this guy's been around since before he even mentioned getting a small bird, it doesn't seem any more likely he's talking about the duck than any of the other birds around here. Don't worry, this is still Delfino Plaza's episode. If we open both Ricco and Gelato without reaching 10 shines, we get a bit more unique dialogue. Peach mentions the boats, which have begun to run again, and thanks to Debs, we can even learn what they're called.
The Fruit Freighter.
With the boats finally running again, this means this is the point of the game at which you're meant to get the Pachinko shine. These boats are a little odd, too. Their collision goes all the way down to the ocean floor, making it impossible to swim under them. The Sailor Boys are still going at it, of course. Seems they tried to settle it in Smash, but that only made things worse.
You know, you have a pretty suspicious mustache there. I bet we're in this fix because of a mustache like that.
Mushroom Guy managed to get himself caught on fire. Of course, he'll give us a blue coin if we douse him, but then he says,
I still wish the sun would return, but who needs a tan when you can be burnt to a crisp?
Once we've collected 10 shines from this point, we've reached episode 4, The Princess in Peril. I like that the toads are positioned so no matter which level you did before getting to this point, there's one right nearby to give you the lowdown. Only the toads are at all worried, of course. Let's check in on the Piantas. The Sailor Boys have moved on to insulting each other's swimming skills. Alright, come on boys, I want more lore. Step it up next time. Other than a few Piantas relocating though, that's about all there is to this version of the map. Trigger the cutscene at the Turtle Mobile and move on to our next episode. Episode 5, everything else. This will basically be the state of the plaza until we've tracked down Gooey Mario in all 7 levels. Most of the dialogue hasn't changed much, but I bet you can guess whose has. The Sailor Boys have now gotten into a heated debate about whose tree is bigger. The double entendre here is almost certainly deliberate. Chances are, if you've ever talked to these two, this is the dialogue you found them saying. But it's fun to watch how they got to this point, going from just being worried about the darkness like everyone else, to debating family history, to competing with each other, to blaming the darkness on each other, to measuring wood and bushiness. There is one new shine in this version of the plaza. A golden bird is hanging out on the water near the Castaway Island. I remember joking as a kid that if this guy could manage to splash enough water on the bird, he could grab the shine and warp to shore, but then the shine flies way over here anyway. Our next progress gate is unlocking Yoshi, so of course it's on to Pinna Park. There are no level previews for any of the levels to come, but Pinna Park is the area visible from the most other areas in the game, all but Noki Bay and the airstrip. There are quite a few incongruities to it though. Delfino Plaza, the area you probably spend the most time in, is the only version where the Ferris wheel isn't spinning. The scale of the island between Ricco Harbor and Gelato Beach is completely off, the island looking way closer from the harbor. In the park's first episode, Mecha Bowser's theme is actually a remix of the Shine Get theme. Thanks Hyper to Hedgehog for that one. Didn't catch it myself. Everyone keeps telling me the Bullet Bill launchers are a deliberate reference to the GameCube controller ports. I don't see it. Another one from Christmas '95, maybe they should have been making these videos. At the start of episode 1, when you're looking in at Shadow Mario from outside the gate, you can see he's standing on an itty-bitty block from a secret level. This is because there's no collision over here until we get into the park, so they just gave him a little stand. Around the Shell Ride, I pointed out this trio of Noki sisters called the Buckies. I only drew attention to them because named NPCs are really rare in this game, but I didn't have anything more to share about them. Then Raven Winter in my Discord server showed me that these 3 are quite the cameo stars. You can have them as teammates in the Mario baseball games, and they also show up in the closing ceremonies of Mario Kart Double Dash. That's so random, I love it. Sorry. 2 things in the wilted sunflowers. If you try to water one, they'll get a little of their color back and try and straighten up, but then falter and wilt again. And you can lure these Snoozakoopas pretty far from their posts. If you bring them over behind this wall, you can even get them to fall asleep in the water. With the swiping stews on the beach and us long since having enough shines to get the sunglasses, I wanted to try this out.
Mamma mia.
Yep, he just pops a pair of sunglasses on your corpse. Nice. Another voice line mix-up, courtesy of Melty Metroid. This Pianta rocks a Noki's voice line. Though given the location, maybe he's just doing an impression. That's all for Pinna Park. Of course, we got Yoshi into the plaza by doing that, which gives us access to a few things. Firstly, we can now get the prison bell tower shine, as it does spawn pretty high, but not so high we can't reach it with a bit of fancy footwork. Something interesting on the note of Yoshi, the international releases of this game have way more fruit than the original Japanese version. All the offerings in the fountains, porches, rooftops, it makes both opening Yoshi's egg and playing around with him far easier, but it is kind of odd there's just random fruit everywhere in this version, isn't it? And that's all the noteworthy things about Yoshi. That's it. No more shines to get, we can move on now. I'm telling you, move on. No, ignore that pipe, Mario, please, I'm begging you. Yes, it's time to tackle hands down the most infamous shine in this game. Our objective? Get our highly soluble Yoshi across the ocean to that island. It's a light bit of puzzle solving, but our only path is with the fruit freighters. These tiny, slightly slippery, moving platforms. One goes from the central canal to the opposite island. Now we're going to be spending a lot of time on these boats, so we may as well admire them. These crates with the insignias on them are unique, sporting this odd logo. At first glance, I thought it was just a stylized Pianta, but then Mr. Penguin B in my Discord server pointed out to me its lack of a head tree. My next best guess then is that it's meant to be Olimar, or possibly the Hocotate Freight president. It wouldn't be a totally unprecedented reference, I think. The front of the boats also seem to resemble faces with 2 eyes, a big nose, and a little mustache. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch. I was hoping this text would look like the Hocotate Freight logo, but it's completely garbled and unreadable. This cardboard box over here is also kind of interesting. It bears resemblance to a bit of cut content within the game's code. A cardboard box Mario could kick a soccer ball into to make it react to the goal he'd scored. On this first island, there are some coconuts in this tree we can use to keep Yoshi topped off, which is going to be important. Our next boat ride will ferry us all the way over to the platform where the 100 coin shine spawns, and that answers the question of what this banana was doing here, giving us another chance to refuel. Now, this is downright nerve-wracking. Yoshi's jumps aren't nearly as precise as Mario's hover nozzle. One slip up and it's back to the beginning of the process. Multiple minutes of waiting in between jumps. They're not that precise, but with the mounting pressure, they sure feel like they are. On this last leg of our journey, it's entirely possible to eat the golden bird. But we made it. Clear away the pipe and we'll head in. Oh, you thought that was the hard part? No. Welcome to the lily pad secret. You remember lily pads, they were kind of necessary in one level. I know you mastered control over them back then, and because I know you mastered them, we're gonna throw in a curveball of controlling them on a current. This water is instant death, so don't take too long reaching the end or your lily pad will wilt. But don't go too quick or you'll drift straight past one of these red coins, and then where will you be? Don't worry, we've provided this extremely friendly looking pipe. It'll take you right back to the beginning and you can try again. Oh, did you think I meant the beginning of the river? No. I meant the beginning of the whole process with Yoshi. Yeah, no, I recovered the pipe in orange goo, so enjoy the boat ride. What's wrong? Wait, no, where are you going? It can't be that bad. The GameCube really was Nintendo's era of outwardly trolling its players, huh? What a massive middle finger. You almost have to admire it. Don't worry, there's a ton you can do to make this easier on yourself. For one, this first island is connected to the mainland via a sewer tunnel, so you can absolutely feel free to skip that first boat ride. Also, you may notice that Yoshi launches out of the sewers with downright ludicrous height. Whoa! That gives me an idea. What if we can jump from this sewer entrance to the mooring platform? It takes a bit of work. You need to get a running start, then start spinning near the apex of your jump to slow your descent. Activate Yoshi's flutter just before you drop too low, and not bad. 2 boats skipped. Not good enough? That's fair. Head on over to the stall selling durians and coconuts. It takes some finagling, but it's entirely possible to squish between the collisions of the wall and the support to fall out of bounds. From here, make some small jumps to stay off the death barrier but keep below the sewers, and then make a big jump to pop out on the ocean floor. Now we can head straight to the island. Just to be safe, I cleared the sludge from below the waterline, but Yoshi can just jump out of the water no problem. And we're back. Now there are also a couple tricks to the level itself. First and foremost, everyone tries taking this way too fast, sacrificing all their control and sliding straight past coins because they let the wilting lily pads psych them out. Secondly, if you are extremely low on lives and don't want a game over to make you do any part of the Yoshi segment again, some people will recommend running all the way back to the top along these walls if you miss a coin, because the lily pad does respawn up there. Frankly, the precision necessary to do that is way higher than the precision necessary to just get the coins, so that's a big ask. Rather, I'd recommend just running back and getting the 1-up here before starting back at the beginning. So, here's the tactic. Just give yourself enough of a push to get going, and then from here, most of the spraying we're going to be doing is going to be facing forward. That way we can affect our direction while also giving us more control over the speed. After drifting straight into these first 3, push yourself so you bounce off the right wall. That should slow you down and line you up with this 4th coin. It's relatively straightforward from there, with the last coin being the only real hurdle. Since it's so high up, you want your lily pad to either be stopped or moving slow enough that you can catch up to it after jumping for the coin. If you do miss, it is the easiest coin to go back and get from the wall, but do yourself a favor and make sure to save the coin on solid ground until after you've done that, because otherwise... What I always did was just get the first 6 normally, and then, rather than risk landing back on the lily pad, just jump from it to the wall. But you know what? If the hardest part of this shine is controlling the lily pad, I say why use the lily pad? Yeah, now who wants to guess how many tries that took me? 10? I thought it was going to be way more than 10. That might genuinely be a viable way to do this level if you hate the lily pad. I don't know. I see you, Gooey Mario. I'll get to you. We're going to do Serena Beach first, though. Apparently, I actually did my job this level, because I barely got any comments about something I missed. Glad to know I was so thorough with my favorite level. One small correction, though. Thanks to I'm a farmer in Malaysia! That's how it's pronounced. Unfortunately, that's not optional. For letting me know that King Boo can only spit out coins a few times per attempt, and in order to get 999 coins from him, you have to farm the Electric Koopas. So that's worse. Oh, and it's worth noting, in Japanese, this guy isn't called King Boo. He's called Boss Boo, whereas King Boo from Luigi's Mansion is still called King Boo in Japanese, which most people take as confirmation that these ain't the same guy. I also happened to find another attack the big guy can boo, that being if you kick a stew into him. Back in the plaza, let's cover the things we can do after unlocking the turbo nozzle, such as getting into the Pachinko level and reaching the top of the return ramp. I know you guys wanted to see the top of the return ramp. Okay, there are 2 shines we can get, thanks to a mechanic that we haven't seen used in any other level. Turbo doors. Crash through it, and this shine beneath the radio tower is ours. That might have been the least legal thing we've ever done to get a shine. Better head on over to the courthouse and turn ourselves in. No wonder this island's law is so loosey-goosey. Their legal center is literally a giant slip and slide. I do love this level. It's literally just a turbo nozzle playground, and I love that thing. But there's a whole lot of not a lot to this one. Just for fun, let's see if we can open up the door without getting inside. Then we can try our hand at it with the hover nozzle instead. There we go, not too bad. Unlike beating this level without the turbo nozzle. Nah, I'm only joking, this is genuinely easier. I brought this thing in so I could show that these slots on the side of the course have the proper collision it looks like they should have, which is fascinating. Feels almost like they could have hidden something here, but like almost all the other Delfino secrets, no coins and no 100 coin shine. Next up is Noki Bay, and a couple of you asked what would happen if you collected your 100th coin after activating the warp into the level. This is my bad. I wasn't clear enough about how this works. When you activate the warp, it drains any coins you currently have. The reason you can start this level with any coins at all is because in the sequence of events, you can activate the warp, lose all your coins, then gain a coin. So there'd have to be 100 coins on this spot to find out. Both things I've got for Noki Bay are to do with Eelimouth. This first one is something I noticed literally minutes after the Noki Bay video was uploaded. Eelimouth's eyes have 2 unique sets of designs, one distinctly masculine, the other distinctly feminine. This is certainly unusual, and many people posit that Eelimouth may be both male and female. There are even more distinguishing details too. Eelimouth will make a different sound when you dislodge a tooth depending on which side of the mouth the tooth came from. And the male's eyes seem to produce way more tears. Speaking of their eyes, this is probably the most insane detail I'll show in this whole video, which I was made aware of by Uvan04V1. If you look into their eyes at just the right angle, you can see what appears to be Ricco Harbor reflected in them. And not just Ricco Harbor, but a pre-release version of it. Best guess, Eelimouth was originally planned to be a Ricco Harbor boss, but that still leaves a lot of questions. With Noki Bay down and a rocket nozzle obtained from Shadow Mario, we can now obtain every shine in the plaza. Apart from getting the bell towers and the tall grass shine the intended way, there are 2 more within our reach. One is the lighthouse. This black disc on top can only be broken by a ground pound from great height, the kind that gets this cool comet effect on it. Just to make double sure you do have the rocket nozzle, the shine spawns way up here. And of course we have the shine gate. It's kind of interesting that it spins as you clean it, because once it is clean, it'll slowly and steadily get back into its front-facing position, and we won't be able to turn it anymore. If you get the camera angle just right, you can see the pole it's spinning on up here too. But what makes this interesting is that during one of the game's opening opening cutscenes, we got this shot of the plaza, and you can see the shine is facing backwards here, and you can see its shine hanging out way up there. So whoever got this shot wanted the shine cleaned, but didn't wait for it to stop spinning before taking this picture. Now finally, Pianta Village. I did end up finding one more route through the Goopy Inferno. Reveal the tree in the spring, then you can jump from this mushroom to the tree, then to this shelf mushroom, and on to the mayor's house. In Chain Chomp's bath, I made a point of there being no way to refill your water in this level once the bath was occupied, but Squid Token let me know that wasn't the case. There's an obscure technique in the game where you can use Flood during a ground pound to refill your tank from a water barrel. The barrels in this level respawn too, so they are technically still an infinite source of water. Funnily enough, I did think to try this with the watermelon cubes over here, but when that didn't work, I just assumed the barrels wouldn't either. No sense in not being thorough now. I tried it out on the invisible barrel in Ricco Harbor, but to no avail, and I also gave it a shot with the Gelato watermelons, also with no effect. What, Flood, too good for watermelon juice and invisible water, but you'll suck up this just fine? I stumbled upon this odd Yoshi interaction with these Pokies. He can take them out with his juice before they emerge, and when he does, their flower just remains as a regular flower. Admittedly, I didn't do a very good job showing off the Chuckster Secret 100 coin shine, cause it literally pops up right next to the red coin shine. It's kinda silly, so here it is a lot more clearly. During the Shadow Mario chase, I tried and failed to get his shine to spawn on top of a blue coin, but Matt Barker 97 drew my attention to the fact that that's way easier in other levels, like right here in Gelato Episode 2. I don't know what I was expecting the interaction would be like, but it's nice to have my curiosity satisfied. For now. That catches us up to our main file with Episode 6, The Flood, which honestly may even deserve its own episode of Game Breakdown. There's a lot to this. Maybe I'm just a sucker, but raising an area's water level to alter how you interact with it is one of Nintendo's favorite tricks, and it gets me every time. It doesn't necessarily serve a practical purpose, it's just here to raise the stakes as the entrance to the final area opens up. Like Bowser Jr. said, "Fine, you like water so much? I'll give you water!" And you can ignore it all and head inside if you really want, but you'd miss out on some of the game's coolest details. Where do I even start? Well, just for fun, let's see what shines we can and can't get while the plaza's in this form. The entrances to Bianco, Ricco, Gelato, Pinna, and Noki Bay are all out of the question, so the only levels we can still reach are Serena Beach and Pianta Village. We can still reach a number of Delfino Plaza's secret areas too. The Pachinko machine, the slide, and the tall grass secret are all still attainable. In fact, this is probably the easiest it'll ever be to reach them. There is, however, no way to get into the turbo nozzle secret or the lily pad secret. Well, I'm sure there's some glitch or other. We can clean both bell towers, and thanks to Yoshi's presence here, it is still possible to reach the prison tower's shine, but the radio towers is impossible. Any of the plaza's sewer system now beneath the waterline just doesn't exist, so the only two entrances we can reach take us to a tiny circle. Aw, it's like a little top hat. Here's a really specific detail regarding the radio tower. This bit of roof on the corner only looks like this in the flooded version of the plaza, and in all other instances looks incorrect. This has nothing to do with anything, but this nearby rope positioned just above the water is an extremely fun time. For this fellow on the roof, everything's still business as usual, and he'll still toss us into the shine room for a coin. The golden bird is still present by the Castaway Island, though if you can't find it, it's because the longer you spend in the flooded plaza, the further it drifts over here. The last shine we can obtain without glitches is the 100 coin shine, though without the sewers accessible, the coins available to us are extremely few and far between. The most we can get, again without glitches, are from all these green birds on the rooftops, but of course, glitches are always an option to expedite matters. The most famous glitch in this area, possibly one of the most famous in this game, is to do with trying to swim into the bottom of these floating logs. Give it a moment, and you'll warp straight down to the ocean floor. Down here, we can roam the city streets as normal. Finding many of the coins can still be obtained by spraying things like the wanted posters and swinging signs. We can also get a close look at a few odd design differences, like this shine symbol at the center of the plaza, the manhole covers, which of course we can't ground pound, and this door to the left of the Pianta statue. In fact, we can't see or even hear the shine that's usually inside. All the bouncy surfaces down here no longer do, and I've saved the best for last. The shine we'd normally get from spraying this section of the beach is gone, but the shine image still exists, and can be sprayed over here by the umbrellas. Doing so spawns what I'm confident in labeling the single best hidden coin in this entire game. This whole series has been worth it for this frickin' coin. Wait, that reminds me, we were trying to spawn the 100 coin shine. In total, between all the coins above and below the water, there can't be more than 40 coins around here, so we're gonna have to grab a shine and rinse and repeat a few times. But if we do get all the way up to 100, the shine's usual spawn location is submerged, so instead it lands on top of the Grand Pianta statue. I think that's the most unique 100 coin shine we've ever spawned. We can also spawn 2 more shines, though we can't collect them. The one above the shine gate, of course, and though it'll take a bit of finesse, the one above the lighthouse as well. That only leaves the box breaker minigame unaccounted for, so let's start exploring this place's dialogue. Debs gives us a bit of a rundown as to what happened, describing it as a waterfall-like deluge of rain. Nearly every NPC has taken refuge on a rooftop. The sole exception is the exhaust port guy, who's joined the illustrious Duck Ring Riders. Purple Toad also describes the sudden rainfall like a tidal wave from the sky. And I mentioned it before, but likely as an oversight, he's somehow found himself wearing a blue vest. Him and the repairman are really expanding my horizons. I wasn't aware anyone on this island was allowed to change clothes. All the other toads give similar accounts, but I love how the police look like they're protecting the blue toad over here. We got you, little buddy. Us boys in blue gotta stick together. You can also find Sunglasses Bro hanging out on the east of town. He's also all business as usual. The Sailor Boys have this cute moment here. They're still talking like they're completely fed up with each other, but they've literally got each other's backs here. What a pair of bros. This tourist mentions that the water came from Corona Mountain, as though it erupted with water or something. Worth keeping in mind. And then we got the Castaway, who, despite not being able to swim, somehow used the rising water to his advantage and got back to the mainland. Good for him. Yellow Tourist is having the time of his life, but one last time asks where the cameras are. He seems to be convinced he's on some kind of hidden camera reality TV show, and I may as well mention, there is a relatively popular fan theory that he's right. That this whole game is some kind of elaborate ad campaign for Isle Delfino, which could explain the utterly kangaroo court we went through where Mario's sovereign monarch gets no say in his defense, the fact that a lot of characters have been totally unfazed in the face of danger, and even the use of episodes as a notation of the levels. The idea that Mario games have actually been dramatizations rather than a literal procession of events has been a popular theory ever since Mario Bros. 3 opened with a rising curtain, but I personally don't subscribe to this one. It is fun to think about though. Toadsworth mentions that the water that poured down seems hot. Another little tidbit to tuck away for later. How this guy managed to remain on fire through what by all accounts was like having a giant water bucket overturned on the city is beyond me. You can find the pair of Tanuki hanging out on top of the boathouse, which gives us a few things of note. 1, this is a father and son pairing. 2, the young one uses a Pianta voice line when spoken to. And 3, this design with the life ring is identical to the one from Noki Bay. And finally, we got the Council of Fruit Vendors, who work together to save all their wares as best they could. That's adorable. And practical, as it's just a hop 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 skip and a jump to get one over to Yoshi. I think the last things worth covering for now are blue coins. Of course I'm saving them for last, but there are a few interesting ones amid the flood. Bring Yoshi up to the top of the police station, clear away the gunk, and you can see some odd textures in this crevice. These are the same as they are in a non-flooded map, just lit differently, but they're just miniature building facades. The blue coin in the jail is also very strange. You can see it, but the back entrance is barred. Even stranger, you can see a sewer entrance inside that isn't normally there. Let's finish the flood with a bang, and pull the camera out to see how exactly they did this. For some bizarre reason I cannot comprehend, this was not accomplished by raising the y-coordinates of the water's surface. No, but by sinking all of Delfino Plaza down below the water level. It's easiest to tell by comparing the seafloor's slope towards Ricco Harbor between the two maps, but also every other area, including Delfino Airstrip, appears to be perfectly undrenched. Now all that's left is to give chase to Shadow Mario and enter Corona Mountain, the ultimate gauntlet, the final trial. That's next episode. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Exit the area and everything will be back to normal. Better than normal, in fact. That brings us to episode 7, The Shine's Return. The game basically uniformly updates your progress here. If you haven't gotten 60 shines yet, the Ring of Darkness will be gone anyway. If you hadn't chased down Shadow Mario with the turbo nozzle or rocket nozzles before the flood, they'll still be unlocked by the statue. A clever bit of continuity considering Bowser Jr.'s hiding out in the volcano now. Most dialogue changes in this episode are in regards to the brightness, with many of the Piantas who had been complaining about the darkness up till now remarking on how sunny things are. And a lot of the ones who had given us the hardest time are finally singing a new tune. Mushroom Guy, dude, you've got issues. Have you been lighting yourself on fire because you miss having sunburns? The only characters still distressed are the Toads, since we kind of left something in that volcano. Oh, and Castaway Guy, who we can find staring longingly at his island.
I just want to get back to that island.
Near him on the beach, the Sailor Boys look to have finally squashed their beef. I knew their bond was stronger than some silly argument. There's one new character to the plaza this episode. Over here on the docks, this fellow in the purple shirt. Crazily enough, this isn't the first place you can find him. If you wandered over to the other side of the airstrip way back in the tutorial, you could have found this guy manning the ferry over here. And wouldn't you know it, for 10 coins he's offering to take us back. Let's take him up on it. Don't expect any shanties from this captain, mate. This is 100% a reference to Captain from Animal Crossing, right? We're all on the same page here? The only complaint I have about this is that we're hearing the Delfino Plaza music here. The airstrip music from the tutorial was definitely a bit low-key, but I certainly miss it now. As long as we're back at the site of the game's opening, I say it's time we look back with hindsight on the game's first cutscenes. In the first few shots of the game, we got this delightful map of the region. Here's something I didn't catch before. This map and this map are slightly different. The more zoomed out one portrays an earlier concept for Isle Delfino, the same one we noticed on that poster in Serena Beach, with the airstrip attached to the plaza, and Pinna Park attached to the island. On this map, I drew attention to these islands shaped like other marine life, but I believed this island was meant to be the real-world Hawaii. A lot of people were quick to disagree with me, saying it's an angelfish or a sunfish, and listen, I feel I've been pretty good about admitting when I missed something or when I was wrong, but nuh-uh, not this time. That is just straight up the main island of Hawaii. The placement of the volcano is even identical. Following right along with that, the aerial view of Isle Delfino. It looks pretty good. You can make out almost every area we've been to. Pianta Village is a little tough, but you can at least see the tops of the giant palm tree. No Noki Bay though, another casualty in its development turnaround no doubt, and Pinna Park looks a little off. It's featuring the red Ferris wheel we've already noticed once or twice, but its whole layout looks completely different too. Significantly smaller, and lacking any other landmarks we might identify. One last cutscene detail to note, I knew about this, but I was still trying to figure out what kinds of details were and weren't noteworthy at the time. And I guess I made a bad call about this one, cause like 20 people let me know. In the Japanese version of this game, the prosecutor's voice lines have him saying the word shrine instead of shine.
Expert shrine scholars have determined that this darkness has arisen because of all of our guardians. The shrine sprites have vanished from their gathering spot at the shrine gate.
Definitely odd no one caught it, or at least they didn't think it was important enough to change before localization. But we're here on Delfino Airstrip again, and there are a few things we can do. Namely, one, there's a turbo nozzle for us to suit up with, and a red button they accidentally gave a Pianta voice line to. There are 8 red coins scattered around the area, and all the gold coins will lead us straight to them. This is really satisfying. It's sort of our turbo nozzle's last hurrah, only being required for 3 shines and a small handful of blue coins, but it's a good last hurrah. This final stretch over here by all these stews is a joyful send-off, and if you haven't gotten the 100 coin shine for Delfino Plaza yet, this is easily the best place to get it as well. Even if you didn't get up to 100 coins on the path to all the red coins, there are plenty more from these stews and graffitis. And of course, grabbing the red coin shine doesn't reset your count, so you can just come right back and get it in seconds. Seems almost like a given at this point, but if not for the gates blocking the red coin in this building, the turbo nozzle would not be remotely necessary, as we're once again given an exorbitant amount of time to actually get the coins. We can also bring in the rocket nozzle by equipping one before setting sail, and with rocket storage, we can make our way back into the invisible room above the tower. Unlike in the tutorial with the bubble nozzle, there are a pair of Soren stews in here, so I imagine that maybe before this was a red coin romp, this may have been something of a pest control mission, tasking us with clearing out an infestation of stews. That's just speculation, though to my mind, something along those lines would explain why there's no one here. If we get extra clever and build up a stored rocket jump before collecting the turbo nozzle, we can even break one of this room's turbo doors, and see that these doors wholly respond to the ones down here. Last place worth investigation is the tower interior. These little bits and bobs on the floor seem like little shopwares, like local crafts, but one jar is designed to look like a Pianta, which is completely adorable. On the other side of the room is a block of ice containing our first blue coin of the bunch. There are only 20 in Delfino Plaza, including that one, but many of them take a bit more doing than any we've seen so far. Let's start with the graffiti. There are 2 corresponding X marks, one on the side of the Grand Pianta statue, and one over by the docks. Break this crate in the center of town to reveal an M, find another hidden on the back of this building near the cannon, and another behind another crate on the bridge building. There are a couple just out and about. The most obvious one is in the prison, but the other 3 are all within the sewers. Enter the system from the cover near the Pianta statue and head as far north as you can for one, enter near the Shine Gate and again head as far north as you can, and then use this tunnel leading out towards the island to the west and venture down and to the left through this maze to find the last. Use the turbo nozzle on this gate in the pillar near the lighthouse to crash into a blue coin, and for this next batch we're gonna use Yoshi. There's a blue bird on the roof near the Serena Beach pipe, and another on the roof of the box breaker building. There's a tall building near the cannon with some orange goop near its top, concealing a coin in its alcove. Same story on the roof of the police station, and the 5 remaining coins are all held by NPCs. This flaming mushroom fellow will of course be kind enough to give us one if we douse him, but this blue coin Gubbin is very unique. Back in the plaza's first iteration with the Sunken Statue, this guy isn't on fire, but it is possible to sink him into the goop, rescue and clean him off, and he'll give you the very same blue coin. From there, he has the same properties as his counterpart in Pianta Village, capable of giving you infinite gold coins if you continue to torment him. Next are the 4 ladies standing by baskets. Each one will task you to work for them for a bit and request 3 of one kind of fruit. The banana lady is the simplest. All you have to do is rob this stall right around the corner, and there's nothing more to it. Though if you bring these ladies a fruit before they ask for it, the basket will animate its recipients, but it won't count. Pineapple Lady is almost as simple, but her basket is way off the ground. This is here to teach you about the different fruit physics. No, really. All 5 fruits you can carry have entirely different mechanics when thrown. Pineapples are thrown the highest and bounce the highest as well. Papayas are thrown the furthest. Coconuts roll when landing. Peppers slide further than the coconuts roll. And bananas are just a very stubborn fruit. I always like to see how far away I can make this basket from. Nailed it. Next simplest is the Coconut Lady on the far island. There's one on this rooftop right on the other end of the sewer tunnel, but it's a bit of a red herring. There are 3 growing on the tree right next to her. You can literally spray one directly from the tree into her basket. And last but not least, the Durian Lady. Her basket is turned on its side and significantly larger, and well it ought to be considering the task at hand. As a reminder, if you've bumped your head on the ceiling of any sewer tunnel since your last loading screen, Durians will register Mario as permanently jumping, so you may want to reload before attempting this challenge. This is also a challenge that was made significantly easier in the international release of the game, as these durians on the porch didn't exist in the Japanese version. It's not too difficult. It's really just a matter of getting them across the canal, and a solid dive into them should do the trick no problem. If you are playing the original Japanese version for whatever reason, I recommend taking all 3 of these durians out at a time, because odds are you're gonna lose at least one. But again, a good header is all it takes to clear the gap here. If we do decide to undertake any of their errands again, they will of course reward us with a 1-up. With that done, that's every shine and every blue coin we can get without heading into Corona Mountain. What a joyful hub area, truly. One of my favorite little things about this game is that the bells you cleaned will ring every time you return to the plaza. They worked incredibly hard at making your progress feel palpable. Flooding it, turning it into a total disaster zone is another one of those cool rug out from under you moments too. The water isn't treacherous by any means, but it does turn what is otherwise a safe and familiar environment completely on its head. But once it's cleared away, we've as good as done it. We've helped these people, individuals and communities alike. The atmosphere here is night and day compared to the start of the game, but we've got one area to go. One culprit we haven't fully pinned down. Next time, the finale of Super Mario Sunshine. Until then, my patrons become more and more amazing by the day. For those of you on YouTube, my viewers on Patreon get to see the next video right now, and you can come and join in the fun with the link in the description. My most excessive thanks go to Wormy, who happened upon 2 magic lamps, and he just gave one genie to the other because he already has everything he could want. And as a bonus, those genies hooked up, and it was adorable. Amiria the Grey, who hath slain the Balrog, but that wasn't even the coolest thing she did that day. It's CL though, who, you know how sometimes angry cartoon characters get a personal thundercloud? Well, CL gets a personal supernova, so try and stay on their good side. And Raven, who wrote the music. All of it. Additional shoutouts to the rest of my patrons, including Jenku, Andrew Minturn, Marcel S., Drooling, and Chris Braydell. We're almost there, guys. I'll see you in the next one.